Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch 2 edition. Despite all of the information that we got beforehand, it still surprised me with some of the stuff added in and the future for this series. I was looking forward to playing this game. I felt that a lot of the weaknesses of the original game could be fixed with a better hardware with the Nintendo Switch 2 and an update, and that's exactly what we got with the Nintendo Switch 2 edition here. So I'm gonna go over what surprised me, what was very interesting, and what we could see with the link in the future when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 and one of the modes, and the future with Xenoblade Chronicles Genesis as well. But before we continue, we are giving away a Nintendo Switch 2 at 140,000 subscribers, or on September 1st, whichever comes first. Subscribe, like, comment. The winner will be chosen at random, and it's a worldwide giveaway. Thanks, peeps. Let's start off with this, guys. This is a massive glow up from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 originally on the Nintendo Switch 1, or even if you're playing Xenoblade Chronicles 2 backwards compatible with boost mode on the Nintendo Switch 2. Everything just looks significantly better. It's smoother, it's sharper, the grass is more detailed. There's more detail on everything. Everything is just more refined, and you will instantly notice how much better everything looks if you spent a lot of time originally on the Nintendo Switch 1 with Xenoblade Chronicles 2. So this glow up needs to be stated. It is very nice what they've done here. Another thing that I noticed, and what you will notice right away, is the 60 frames per second target. You can notice it when you get into battles, the smoothness of it, the non-lagging or dropping frames. It's just a much better experience. And considering that this is the type of game where you do have some timing based things, you do have some interesting ways to do combat with the flick of the stick whenever you're trying to get the extra attacks in on the auto attacking, it really does help. It really does help with the smoothness in combating and fighting. I would suspect that if you're fighting some of the higher level enemies and bosses in this game, that 60 FPS is going to help you out quite a bit when it comes to doing different things in the game. So that's something that I noticed as someone who put over 220 hours into the original base game on the Nintendo Switch 1, not even with boost mode. Most of my time was spent just playing the game on the original Nintendo Switch 1, various ways with docked mode or in portable mode. Played, I think, docked mode more just because docked was a bit better when it comes to the resolution and frame rate. This is something that you have to experience, and it's something that's noticeable so quickly and makes the game significantly better right then and there. Now, there are some issues when it comes to the audio. The battle music seems to be a bit too low. Voices are a bit high. You can tweak things a little bit in the settings, but some people have had no luck even doing that. So I noticed it a little bit. Wasn't as bad as some people were saying, but I do think there might be an issue there. There are also some frame rate drops here and there that I was able to notice in some of like the bigger areas, the Torgroth area. That was a problem on the Nintendo Switch 1. It handles it for the most part here on the Nintendo Switch 2 from what I've played. Some areas just run super smooth with no issues at all, but it's just something that you might not notice if you put a lot of time into the Switch 1 version where there was the 30 FPS with all sorts of dips all over the place. This one is so much nicer and so much more smoother and consistent. It's something that, for me at least, it's just such a drastic improvement when it comes to it compared to the Switch 1 that I didn't really notice it too much, but it targets 60 and it hits 60 for the most part. Now, the biggest thing with this, the portable mode. Now, I can't give you guys the direct feed of portable mode and all of that, but what I can say, if you watch Digital Foundry's explanation of it, or if you've seen any of the other footage, portable mode is so much better. Like, it is so much better to the point to where playing in portable mode right now with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is such a different experience. If you played it originally, I mean, we're talking 360p, which I'm not a pixel counter, but I think I could have even counted 360p in the portable mode on the Nintendo Switch 1. It was that low when it comes down to it. It was blurry. It was tough when it comes to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the Nintendo Switch 1, but now it has been uplifted so much better. And I can't count the pixels then. At this point, all I know is that the image that I'm seeing with the clarity of it is so much better across the board in portable mode. And another problem, portable mode, the frame rate drops were also an issue there too. And that's pretty much been completely eradicated. The frame rate in portable mode is also fantastic. So for me at least, seeing portable mode with Xenoblade Chronicles 2 on the screen of the Nintendo Switch 2, it looks almost like a modern game at some times. Obviously this game is going on a decade old. It's going on 9 years old this year. Will be a decade next year, back in 2017. But it really looks like some of the modern RPGs if you're playing in portable mode. It has incredible art direction and what they've done there. So I think that was a masterful job getting this on portable mode significantly better, because that portable mode was a little bit busted on the Nintendo Switch 1. And of course, that's one of the big features, one of the big things about the Nintendo Switch that makes it so much fun, is the fact that you can play portable mode. Well, if you have a resolution that low, doesn't make it quite as fun. So having this here where you have significantly better frame rate and you have this nice presentation, smooth looking graphics, it just makes portable mode and you wanting to play it more and more, because there is so much content in Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch 2 edition that if you have the season pass where you're constantly getting new items and new quests and new things, plus all of the free updates. Also, Torna, the Golden Country, is included for a free update. So if you've already purchased Torna, the Golden Country, it will also be updated. It doesn't come with Torna, the Golden Country, so keep that in mind. Now, of course, I already had Torna, the Golden Country, and that's been completely updated to upscaled 4K and 60 frames per second, and it's great. Torna is a fantastic expansion, so being able to get through all of this content in portable mode and in dock mode is significantly better. Not perfect with everything, but so much better. It's a night and day difference, so very good with that. And now this just makes Xenoblade Chronicles 2 a fun game to go back to, and something that I know I'm going to be going back to when it comes to that. Now, the new Blade Momo, she's also great, and she's cool. She has 2 different modes. I like her. Everything that they said in the trailer is correct here. But the best thing, or at least one of the best things about this new edition of Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is the fact they've got this mode called Merc Assault. So this mode is interesting, and something tells me that this was more than just a mode added in to add in extra content. I think this was a testing ground for potential gameplay mechanics or systems in future Xenoblade games. And as you guys all know, Xenoblade Genesis has been announced for 2027, and I don't know when in 2027 it's coming. I'm hoping it's first half 2027. That would be awesome if it was. It's kind of hard to tell when Xenoblade games are going to come out, because over the course of Xenoblade's history since 2010, they've came out at random time slots. Sometimes early in the year, sometimes middle of the year, sometimes end of the year. It really just randomly depends on the other games that Nintendo is releasing. But I'm hoping that it comes out in the first half of the year, since they've already revealed it. It looks awesome. Merc Assault does a bit interesting things with the gameplay. Now, the game usually has auto attack, where you leave the control stick and it auto attacks. And then once you fill up one of your skills, you can press a corresponding face button to do that skill. They'll have various effects. That's a fun combat system. I like it a lot. And now with the 60 FPS, once again, you can kind of flick the stick a little bit and they'll get you extra attacks. It's a lot smoother. I mean, you can do it before, but now it's a lot better to do it at this point. But Merc Assault lets you do the same thing as like the blade missions, where you send blades off, but you actually get to control them yourself in a action RPG. It's not auto attacking. You press the button and bam, they attack every single time. So it's pretty cool in that way. And you have to balance out your team, just like it says on the Merc mission, sending people with certain skills and certain abilities and certain roles. And that's what you do. You fill up your meter, you attack, fill up your meter. You have a roll button to where they'll drop attacking bonuses, or they'll drop defending bonuses or healing potions that you can pick up, and then you have 6 different blades that you can deploy at any time, and you can switch between them at any time in straight up action RPG gameplay without the auto attacking. And I found this mode very interesting because all the stuff that's detailed when it comes to like the blade missions or the Merc missions, for example, all that is kind of conveyed in the gameplay. You have certain blades that can pick up chests that they need to be either this blade or this blade. They're going to pick up chests, and that ties into the actual mission, collecting gears or collecting wood or collecting whatever you need to collect. And as you fight, more drops happen, and it gets progressively harder and harder. You share an HP pool, and if that HP pool goes all the way down, then it's game over. But of course, if you have some healers, then you'll be okay there. So you have to balance doing all your different specials, your roll skills, your attacking, and it creates a really basic but fun gameplay loop that I was playing quite a bit. I was like, wait a minute, I'm not even sure if I want to play like the actual normal game. I'm just playing these Merc missions over and over, and they have varying levels of difficulty. And it's really cool thinking about all these years, like with the Merc missions where you send them off and they're like, what are they doing? Well, this is what they're doing at this point. They're doing this. They're going up and they're really just fighting enemies and collecting exactly what you told them to collect or to get for resources. And you can earn some nice rewards after you're done. And it gets harder and harder. Some of them I failed multiple times. So this Merc mission or Merc assault gameplay mode is actually really fun. And like I stated, I'm kind of wondering, is this a little bit of a precursor for what we could get in Xenoblade Genesis? Because I think it'd be very wild. Maybe I'm off base on this, but I think it's interesting that would Monolith Soft allow Logical Beat to add this type of gameplay mode? And I know that Logical Beat helped out with this, so did Monolith Soft, but something tells me that they probably wanted to test out some other type of systems or mechanics or combat and how gamers responded and how it actually worked out, because I don't think Xenoblade Genesis is going to have the exact same combat system as Xenoblade Chronicles 1, 2, and 3, plus the DLCs and all that. I just think it's going to be something a little bit different. Now, I don't know if it's going to be like Merc Assault. I'm not saying that it's going to be exactly like Merc Assault or it's going to be exactly like an action RPG 100% or anything like that, like a Tales or a Kingdom Hearts or whatever. I'm not saying that. They still could do their auto attacking with different things, but something tells me maybe they were just testing out some different styles of gameplay and kind of seeing how that would work, because this seems pretty in-depth. It's not super crazy when it comes to the amount of combos you can do in different things, but with the 6 characters, each roll, the specials, the fever meter where you can kind of go into a frenzy and do extra damage and everything, it was definitely thought out. It's not like it was just something little added in, like the new outfits, for example, for Pyra and Mithra, which, by the way, I like those outfits. I know not everybody loves them, but I love the outfits for Pyra and Mithra. I put those on, so you might be able to see that here in the Merc Assault gameplay. But I don't think it was just something small. I think it was something to where they really added this and said, okay, hold up here. Let's test out some different things and all of that. I actually really like it because you have to balance everything. Sometimes you get into a little bit of a trance, or at least I did, playing with your favorite blades, using Pyra or using Cosmos to kind of blast away. It was just fun. Like I said, basic, not a ton of different moves to do with the combat. You're kind of just doing that same move or just attacking with Mithra's huge sword or anything. But what happens is that since there's 6 different characters, you get variety within there, and you have to make sure that you switch between them, because sometimes the healers don't do a great job of healing. So you need to go there and switch them yourself and get that healing in. And sometimes the defenders aren't doing a good job of making sure that your defense is up, or the attackers aren't doing a great job of making sure your attack is up and dropping those attack bonuses for you. So you have to really balance it with each one and kind of just use the L and R button. You can just switch between them at any time. You're constantly looking for the treasure chests. Depending on what character has a certain skill, you're going to have to use them. So only certain characters can pick up the treasure chests, which are going to help you because you're going to have gears that come out of them, or you're going to have wood that comes out of them that you need for your mission to complete it. Because if you don't get the amount that it says, you're not going to complete your mission, even if you defeat all of the waves. So this is something that I found very interesting that they put into here. It's a lot more in depth than maybe I even thought it was going to be when they first showed it off. I thought it was going to be like, okay, it's just the thing, you just press the button a couple times and that's it. But there's actually quite a bit of skill and depth to it when you kind of dig more into the modes and play some of the harder stuff. Like, you really have to understand your team and put the right people out there, which was interesting, like I said, because before it was just Merc missions, you just send them out and that's it. They come back like an hour or whatever later with whatever results. But now you actually go out there and do that yourself, which is a lot more fun, by the way, and takes a lot less time than sending them out automated. So that's cool too. But there's a lot more cool things that was put into this, but that's just like my first impressions and how it surprised me with what they did. But what do you think about Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch 2 edition? Do you plan on getting the upgrade that's $10 right now at this point, or do you plan on picking up the physical edition of the game in October? What do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. All right, peeps, that wraps it up for this one here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you for the next one. Peace.